We're on live. Hello, people in the veterinary community watching us on our Facebook page. Thank you for joining us. I'm Rebecca Rose, and I am here to introduce the lovely and energetic, from what I'm learning, Dr. Becky Krull. Thank you for joining me.
Hello. Hello,
Yeah.
Facebook world. Thank you. Welcome to
Yeah.
Wisconsin. This is beautiful Green Bay, Wisconsin when it's nice in summer.
It does look green and plush.
It is.
Yeah. So we know that veterinary team members can often struggle with this idea of valuing our own services, valuing what we bring to the table. And that's one of the two conversations you're going to be having with our attendees during our symposium. And then the other conversation is in self-care.
Yeah.
And there was one topic that I am totally about in your self-care. It's like, just put down the phone, people. But we
It's
won't
easier
totally.
said than done.
It is, yeah.
And,
So
and, and especially right now.
Yeah. So tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about acknowledging that self-worth and some self-care.
Boy, I think you said, I'd change the phrasing a little bit. It's not just some of us, it's probably all of us. And when we really look at our lives, our self-worth at some point, and how it comes to us in the work I've done, is the brain is just amazing, but it happens to us when we're children. And from there, our story is kind of started and the foundation is laid. And then we play out this narrative, and our self-worth becomes huge in that, bringing up child wounds and child traumas, and how do we work through that? How do we heal that? The psychology behind that. And we're not going to fix it in a 50-minute talk, but we're going to lay some of what I've done in my work to get there. And really what it's done for not only my personal life and my professional life, but my productivity life has just been amazing. When we start to value who we are as a person, value the services we provide, there's no more feeling guilty about the prices I charge or just sliding in maybe a free nail trim here and there. Not only that, but I've given my staff the permission to hold me accountable and say, hey, we're worth this. Now knock it off. Stop giving stuff away. So it's been huge. And then the big thing as far as self-care is, I mean, it really is when we are starting to approach that burnout stage, the number one thing that typically is gone from our life is self-care. And self-care looks different for all of us, but it really does mean eating, sleeping, moving your body. Those are kind of the top three. And I always would get mad at my doctor and be like, what do you mean? I just don't understand. I got to eat, sleep, and move. And hello, we're scientists, we're doctors, we're in the the animal care field where, yes, we have to eat, sleep, move, and then a lot of other stuff happens for self-care.
Yeah, but we think about how well am I sleeping on a scale of 1 to 10? Oh, maybe a 3. How well am I creating a diet that supports me and that I'm taking my lunch on a scale of 1 to 10? Ooh, maybe a 4.
Right.
And
When's the last time you went outside and saw the sun and breathed some fresh air and even had connection? When's the last time you sat with some friends and really connected and did nothing, but work right now, or get off Facebook and actually touch people, be with, have a connection. This is great. This format is amazing. You can still have a lot of connection here, but there's just so much that involves self-care. And again, when self-care, filling your own cup comes into light, as caregivers, we take care of so many people and so many animals before us. And we've got to remember that caring for ourselves allows us to be better caregivers.
Mm-hmm. Well, and isn't it interesting, too, that some of our team members don't see themselves as a caregiver?
Yeah.
No, I'm a veterinary technician. No, I'm a veterinarian. Well, we are healthcare providers. So when we see all those statistics about healthcare providers, whether it's a human healthcare, pet healthcare, we are healers.
We are. We absolutely are healers. And when the healer is broken, they can't heal anymore. So I always, a mantra is you got to heal the healer for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we might be surprised about that. Might be a great question, is ask how many of our registrants see themselves as a healer.
Yeah, I think that I often neglected that until I really started digging in and doing the work. And my coach, and I know you've said this before, Rebecca, yes, coaches have coaches. So my coach often reminds me of that I'm a healer. And I'm more than a healer just from the pets too. We play such an integral role with humans. And think of the things that we take on, and the stories that we share, and the compassion we share, and what that does to our soul and to ourselves. and how that can be beautiful, and it also can be really draining at the same time.
So you hit a great point there too. It's the communication and the interaction with the client, which our receptionists, our client care service representatives, that's again putting us all in this place of healing that pet and that relationship with that pet parent.
Yeah, it's amazing. And we forget that. Can you hear me okay? Because now I've got construction apparently in my backyard. Okay, good. I definitely think our team members fail to see that. And we also, as leaders of the team, perhaps don't recognize it or honor that our team is exposed to just as much of that connection, and more so on the human side, because they don't know, they're not in the room with us. They're not doing the treatments and the diagnosis. They're dealing with the people. And that connection is huge, and how to honor that, but also to know that they're taking on a lot. They're taking a lot on their shoulders.
Yeah. One of the practices that I've been very diligent in recently, during the last 3 months, has been the practice of mindfulness and gratitude. So that's been a real thing for me, and I'm loving it.
I love it. I love, we have rolled wellness into our practice as well. And to see the shift, and I would say in the last 6 months, there's been just this huge shift. And it's such a joy to be in there around that energy. And it's also, when you're the one leading it all the time, being a leader is exhausting. It is. And then when somebody finally takes the baton and says, okay, I'm going to share this with you, and I'm going to take this, it's so gratifying, and just like, oh my God, they're like, my babies. They're like, look at them go.
Exactly. And there's that trust, and it's exactly right. It's like, look at them go.
Yeah, look at them go. And now they want it, and it's just amazing that when you just start to walk the walk and talk the talk and share and share and share and offer, and a little bit of expectations as well in our culture, but giving them options and showing them ways and letting them choose what feels right for them. Because, my self-care and your self-care are going to look really different. And that's okay. I don't want to shove one thing down somebody's throat, but just giving so many options and exploration of what that is.
Yeah. And that is a really good point. And then we'll move on, because I know you and I could talk about this for hours.
Exactly.
For hours. Is that whole idea of finding out what does inspire, and for lack of another better word, because it's really the best one, motivate our team. But like you said, my wellness and what I do in well-being is different than yours. And so what I mentioned when I'm in group settings, it's like, how many of you would not like to have, and it's okay to tell me, not like to have a massage? And in a group of 10 people, 2 people's hands will go up. I'm like, great. And if I was managing you and I thought you did a good job, and I said, oh my God, you just rocked this. Here's a massage. Here's a valuable massage for $120.
Yeah, they're like, no, but thanks. Yeah. It's really getting to know these team members and understanding what their values are and what they honor. Yeah, we did a great value exercise with our staff, and it was great because we had similarities, which is why we thrive so well together. And then we had differences, which was amazing because we needed to honor those, and it helped us understand, oh, this is why you behave this way, or this is why this means so much to you. And so as a team, I think it's really important to know that.
Yeah, and how do we complement each other in this manner?
But isn't that amazing? I mean, I don't want to work with a bunch of the same drones, the same people. That's just not exciting to me. That's what makes life and relationships so amazing, is that everybody has their own stuff, right? And brings their own work to the table.
Thus, I say we are a kaleidoscope of colors. And how do you make that work?
Yeah. And I'm a firm believer that in most cases it can, given the right tools, we can make that work.
Yeah, most definitely. I was going to try to see how we're doing, if we're making it here on Facebook. I'm going to look. I can't tell yet. All right. The other thing that we just recently created, and I'm so glad that you agreed. I was watching a podcast with veterinary technicians, and they were talking about someone having the experience of depression and going through the therapy and all of that. And it was just so touching. And one of the things that they had said at the last of it was #beat the stigma. And it just put in the forefront of my brain that one of the biggest words I ever heard was destigmatization at the AVMA Wellbeing Summit. And I was like, I got to do something with this. We are not discussing that yet in this lineup. And thank you for agreeing to be my tag team partner and be the keynote speaker in that with me.
Sure. My pleasure. Yeah. I mean, this message, this is not new to veterinary medicine. It's just that we're finally talking about it, right? My business partner, he's been in practice for 25 years. And when we talk about burnout, he's like, oh yeah, I had that. I know it, but you just didn't talk about it. You dealt with it, whatever way you decided to deal with it. And now finally, it's just coming to light that yes, mental health is an issue in every aspect of life, but particularly in caregivers and even more so in veterinary caregivers. And why not talk about it? There's nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing to hide. When I started my journey, I shared it loud and proud, even with my clients, so that they understood maybe a little of what was happening and the stigma, and just so they understood my health and well-being. It wasn't to woe is me at all. It was just that it was part of my healing process. And the thing is, every time I share my story, I heal more and more. And that's why I continue to agree to do these things, because it's part of my healing.
Ooh, that's getting me there. Oh, that's that next step closer to whatever that is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And there's so many resources. So we have yet to see what that looks like, but we will be giving people resources in that too.
Awesome. Yeah, good.
Very good. All right, so I've got a couple more things here, and you've given already quite a bit of advice, but maybe talk about one thing you would offer the viewers, advice in living well.
Oh my gosh. Advice in living well. I think what I have finally really, really discovered is that there is a spiritual side to my life. And that doesn't for me mean spiritual does not equal religion. And that took me a lot of time to figure out. But once I understood the spirit of me and my higher power, I start to understand how I want to live my life, that this doesn't feel right, or spiritually, I want really amazing energy into the work I do. Or I just was talking to my marketing coach about, when we're doing these things, we need to be really in a good place, because I don't want a bunch of crappy energy going into my marketing. I was like, this is amazing. So if I'm in a crappy place, I'm not doing marketing that day because that's not any good, right? Even showing for this right now, there's work that goes into that. There's making sure that I got up at a right time, that I move my body, that I eat well before I come, that I do a process called handwriting. That's another thing we do with my coach, but getting myself in a place when I'm going to show up and give my best to the public, that I get there in the right way.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. And it's just like, what does well-being look for people? What our spirituality and that spirit. My father told me many years ago, to be inspired means to be in spirit.
I love that. That's amazing.
Right. That just always felt so good to me.
It did feel so good. And I'm just embracing more and more of that. And just really all the aspects of well-being for me, there's so many steps, but just knowing that it's got to feel right for me. And what feels right for me, it may not feel right for you. And that's okay. We don't have to agree on that. That's okay.
No. But what we do have to agree on is the purpose that we provide and the energy we provide in healing of pets and their parents.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Sweet. Okay. All right. So you have given us a little bit of your background in veterinary medicine, but tell us exactly, the
all
cliff
of it. All of it.
Very small, short cliff notes about how you became. How'd you get here?
How did I get here? So, the classic veterinary story. I wanted to be a veterinarian since I was 8 years old. Fast forward to, I became a veterinarian, bought into practice after being in the practice for 2 years, had a couple babies, started to work like an idiot, and really burned out. Just got to the point where I didn't really like veterinary medicine anymore, and thought maybe I would leave veterinary medicine. That was about 2016, and that's when I had like an epiphany. I always tell the story that I was with my poor husband and my financial advisor, and we were just talking about retirement stuff. And I lost it. I turned into this bubbling idiot that, had lost her way. And my husband and the financial advisor just were like, what are we going to do with her now? So that was, I always say that was my rock bottom, crying in my financial advisor's office. And that's when I really said, okay, enough of this. What I was doing wasn't working. I needed some help. My regular physician wasn't helping me. I turned to some alternative medicine doctor who really pointed me in the way then of my life coach. And I really do credit her and her program with helping me get to where I am now. Now I've had to do all the hard work and dig deep and do the work, but I had some great guidance, and I continue to use that guidance. So it's not just like we do some work and it goes away. This isn't right. The rest of our life, this is forever. It is never going to go away. We're always working on ourselves.
And that's even why when I'm promoting this, I thought I had some feedback. Is that we're forging and maintaining an integrated, healthy life and career.
Yeah, it's just not one and done. It's not one set of yoga and I'm better.
Nope.
And think of the things, it's my life is like this, and there are days when I'm like, life is off, and no crises, right? And tomorrow there may be a crisis, and then how do we deal with that? And how do I still take care of myself in the midst of that?
And it's all of these things that we're going to be help building and giving the resources for. And I'm thinking about the coaching piece. Within veterinary medicine, there's really not a lot of veterinary owners or practices that we've used consultants, and we've used that approach to what we're doing in the business. But I think it's time for coaches, life coaches. There's so many different kind of coaches that people offer and provide. I think that's what the other piece of this is, that we're explaining that this too is a resource for you.
Right. It is a resource. You do some, you look at like the top 500 Fortune companies and top CEOs, they all have executive coaches. They all do. And when you look at that, why does that work for them? And where did how did that happen? And so we've integrated that. As soon as I read that, I was sold. I'm like, why wouldn't I need a life coach? So, imagine your life, even since a child, we've had a parent and teachers and sports coaches and mentors. And then we get to a point in our life when now we're the leaders and we don't have any coaches anymore, right? Yeah. We still need mentors and coaches. And even better sometimes when they're not right in your facility. So it's not my boss or it's not my partner, it's somebody outside who can be non-biased.
And give you a different perspective. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It just kicked me to the point where I used my first coach. Her name was Gwen Pettit. And it was probably in 2008.
I guess you were, I said this when we talked before, you were ahead of your times for sure.
Yeah.
And now the AVMA just had a great article out about using social workers, veterinary social workers.
Yes.
And I think that's, kind of what we're utilizing in our practices. We're using it for our team, though. We're not using it for our clients. We're using it for our team. So we contract with our life coach to be available to us.
Yeah, that we're definitely going to elaborate on that one within our keynote speaker giving a resource. Yeah, perfect. Of how they can do it for their practice. All right, I think that's it. How can our viewers get a hold of you?
Yes, so I'm on Facebook, Dr. Becky Krull, and my website is drbeckyKrull.com.
Sweet.
That's how you can find me.
And we can link them below in this Facebook page as well.
Perfect.
Great. I am so honored that we're doing this together. And you guys,
my gosh, so fun.
Our viewers need to know that we've only met each other like once, and it was like at a table. It's like, I recognize you, you recognize me.
Exactly. Let's do this. I know. Well, I'm blessed that there are no coincidences, right? So we were brought together for a reason. So I'm blessed that that's happening. And thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited about this.
Yeah. Well, as we know, let's rock this tiki hut. All right. So people can find us and register and see our schedule. And I'm populating these things elaborately more and more all the time. I am the AKA webmaster boss.
I'm glad somebody is, because that's not my cup of tea.
Yeah. But people can find more at www.vetteamslivingwell.com, and we'll put all of that down below as well.
Very good.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Maybe.
Still here. Do I have to leave? It's like, you hang up. No, you hang up.